Once you have the action and paradigm shift necessary, you reach this tipping point and everything becomes downhill from there, because it allows you to develop the triggers and narratives for the constructive paradigm to pull you forward naturally towards life. You understand? So this is the 4 pillars of action in subconscious recalibration. Okay. So here we have in James, in the same way, faith by itself, if it's not accompanied by action, is dead. Meaning that you can have a good understanding of what the conditioned paradigm is and what the constructed paradigm is, but if you do not take action properly with the clarity, with the faith, it's dead. It doesn't matter, because you're never going to have the proper formulation of the output. You understand? So this is the formula, okay? We have new identity, new decisions, right? New behaviors, new results, okay? These are the tools that we use to neurologically encode the new identity into your psyche, okay? So here we have a scripting protocol, right? Visualization protocol, affirmation protocol, and embodiment protocol. Writing in first person, past tense, as if you are already that person. This activates your brain's reality simulation systems. Okay, so your brain doesn't know reality from imagination, right? It can only recognize your perspective of how you're viewing what it is that you're viewing, right? So what this does is this allows your brain to click with the proper paradigm necessary to live it out properly, and you begin to show up for yourself daily as this person. Okay. Next, we have visualization with emotion. Okay. The brain cannot fully distinguish between vividly imagined experience and a real experience, okay? Emotional rehearsal encodes new neural patterns to feed off of, right? So a good example of this is creating a playlist, right? You can create a playlist on Spotify where you basically listen to this playlist only to have the visualization with emotion, okay? And whenever you listen to these music, it triggers certain neurological patterns that allows you to reinforce it a lot quicker, okay? Or another good example would be we have a protocol that we run for the visualization and scripting, which allows our clients to basically recalibrate and feel the emotions of their future constructed paradigm to basically live out and resonate with emotions with this newly conceived self, right? Next, we have affirmations with belief, okay? So affirmations only work when paired with emotional resonance, okay? Otherwise, they bounce off of conditioned narratives, right? And conditioned paradigms. So the key is bridging statements, right? And I would recommend obviously we have a protocol, do these all together, right? In the same time, right? The key is bridging statements. I am becoming someone who blank, right? I am learning to trust blank. I am developing blank, right? Next, we have a role embodiment, okay? This is probably the key, most fundamental part of this protocol, because faith without action is dead. You can do the scripting, you can do the visualization, you can do the affirmation. If you do not have the role embodiment, you will never achieve anything in life, okay? So this is basically acting as your future self in micro decisions daily, okay? Which generates new behavioral evidence for your nervous system, okay? Hormozi talks about how you show yourself that you are who you say you are through proof that you are who you say you are. Okay, this is why documenting processes is so important, because it allows you to understand and look back and remind yourself who it is that you are consistently, to have your evidence and re-regulate your nervous system with the person that you're becoming. You understand? This is important. So now that we have a clear understanding of the action necessary to recalibrate our emotional state with the proper action, we then get into Loria's data action theory. Okay, and what this is this basically is a 4-part process that basically guarantees results. Okay. For those of you that are successful, you understand that success is an equation game, right? And this is basically the equation that I've developed. So number 1, we have clarity. Okay. So conditioned versus constructed clarity. Okay. Without it, nothing really matters, because you're just going to be chasing dopamine and you're not going to actually stick it through with the proper action necessary to compete at the next level, right? Number 2, okay, we have action, okay? So identity first execution. This is basically showcasing to yourself that you are who you say you are with the small actions day in and day out, okay? From there, you're going to have data, okay? Clarity plus action equals data. If you have data, then what it allows you to do is it allows you to have feedback. If you have feedback, then it allows you to make decisions based off of the numbers and based off of the feedback that you're getting from the action rather than just your ego. Okay. For a long time, I relied a lot on my ego to make certain decisions rather than the data. Okay. But over time, as you get better, and as you understand how to make certain decisions based off of the data, success becomes inevitable because you have enough data based off of action. If you never take action, you're never going to have enough data. And if you never have enough data, you're never going to have clarity, because after you have data, you repeat the process with clarity. So from data comes more clarity. You understand? Clarity, action, data, clarity. Repeat, 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 repeat. You understand? This is the key, okay? And what you need to understand is that this is what you need to understand, okay? 1% better every single day. Okay, and I know that term, you guys probably don't like that fucking term because it just sounds corny. Like everyone says, like, oh, I'll become 1% better every day. But the truth is that if you take action every single day, you will have enough data to make progress, right? Data equals action, data equals progress, okay? And you're going to have data if you fail or if you win. Victory or failure, you're going to have data. The people who don't take any action, they're going to go on a 1% decline every single day, because you don't have data to make improvements, you stagnate, you don't take any action, you don't have any more clarity, you actually have more uncertainty. And the longer the time goes on, you're just going to continue to feed into the void of nothingness. Okay? So this goes the same with business, this goes the same with your identity. Structuring your identity in a way where you can have this sort of feedback, clarity and repetition in order for you to breed certain results. So getting specific on the clarity, this is your vision, mindset, emotional state, right? The results that you're wanting to achieve in your life, the constructed clarity, right? As well as the conditioned. Next, we have action, which is habits, skill sets, processes, procedures, right? Protocols. Number 3, we have data, right? This is your results. This is self results. This is client results. This is emotional state results, right? Mindset results, okay? From there, we have repeat. Okay, rinse, repeat, improve. Rinse, repeat, improve. Okay, small actions lead to momentum, which allows growth to compound. It's a compounding effect. Okay, very, very clear.